Hi everybody, just a quick video on how I would approach the second assessment for PH201B if I were you. So the first thing I would do is I'd go back to the textbook chapter that we started with at the beginning of this section of the course. That's in Brian Garrett's what is this thing called metaphysics. I'd read that textbook chapter again, trying to work out what the psychological continuity account of personal identity is, why fission is a problem for it, and then look at the general outlines of the two responses to fission that we've focused on in the course, one being Lewis's multiple occupancy and the other one being Derek Parfit's claim that identity is not what matters in survival. Once you've done that, then I would go and read the original primary texts. So I've asked you to read about 10 pages of each of Parfit and Lewis. So there I would ask you to apply the general reading method that we've discussed before, and the summary of which you'll find in My Aberdeen, where you pre-read, fast read, and then reread each text. Pre-read, you're looking for the thesis being defended. Fast read, you're looking for isolating the general argumentative strategy that's been used to support that thesis, and then the reread is to produce a summary of the argument in the text, which you can use to replace the original text when you're writing your essay. With that in hand, you come to the most difficult thing, which is to come up with an objection to the argument. So have a look at both arguments as you've summarized them, and then look at each step in the argument. Even if you like the argument, you should be able to rank the steps from the safest to the one that looks the most shaky, and focus on the one that you think is the most shaky for whichever of the two views you want to consider, and try and sketch out why you think it's shaky. Have a go at that just by writing it a few paragraphs, leave it for a little while, look at it again, work out what is it you're trying to say and try and redraft it and so on. With all that in hand, then you should be able to do the three tasks I'm asking you to do. The first task I would do would actually be number 2, where I explain what fission is, why it's a problem for psychological continuity, and how either Lewis or Parfit address that problem. Then the second thing I do would be task number 3 on the assessment questions, which is to articulate an objection to either Lewis or Parfit's response to fission. And there I would use my summary and focus on a particular step in either argument and try and explain why you think that step might be questioned or undermined. And then last but not least, the first task, which is pretty easy, which is just to identify which of the two approaches that you've focused on in your essay. So what should you do? Start with the textbook, get an overview of what's going on in terms of psychological continuity in fission cases, then read the original texts, which are not very long, 10 pages each, but use that conception method that we've discussed, the reading method outlined in My Aberdeen, the end goal of which is to produce a short summary of each argument to help you write your assessment answer. And then once you're starting writing the assessment answer, you need to summarize either Lewis or Parfit's solution to the problem of fission, and then to identify a step in the solution or the presentation of that solution which you will try to undermine. And that's what I'm looking for you to do. Okay, hope that's helpful. Thank you.